Every year in MLB, All-Star players are selected by the fans in an online polling system. It's for this reason that the concept of an undeserving All-Star exists. But on the flip side of that is something called an All-Star snub. This is a player that deserved the recognition but didn't quite get enough votes from the fans to be an All-Star. And every year, there are players that meet these two criteria. The most undeserving All-Star this year has to be Marcus Semien. On the season, Semien has a mediocre 703 OPS and just 2.4 Fangraphs wins above replacement, most of which has been accumulated through his defensive stats at second base. And the biggest All-Star snub is the subject of this video, Athletics outfielder / designated hitter Brent Rooker. The 29-year-old has had an intriguing start to his MLB career. That career started on the Twins, where Rooker never really found much sustained success. And after a short stint with the Royals during the 2022 season, where he had an awful 14 WRC plus at the plate, Rooker signed a cheap deal with the A's for the 2023 season. At times in Minnesota, he showed some ability to hit the ball really well, but never quite was able to hold up success for a full season. However, with the A's, something in Rooker's swing clicked, and he went on to have a very successful season in 137 games. He might have been striking out nearly a third of the time, but his 30 home runs and .488 slugging percentage were easily the highest marks on the rebuilding Athletics. He was crushing the ball, with a hard hit rate of close to 50% and a barrel rate of close to 16%, which is well above the major league average. After being drafted 35th overall in the 2017 draft, Rooker never quite lived up to the hype in Minnesota. 6 years after the fact, and with a couple disappointing major league seasons under his belt, virtually no one had any expectations for him whatsoever. That's what made his 2023 resurgence all the more awesome to see. And it wasn't just any random outlier season that would be considered a fluke when you look at the rest of his career. He had the batted ball data to prove it, and in 2024, Rooker made sure everyone knew it. It's the All-Star break right now, and he's already posted 3.0 Fangraphs wins above replacement while being mostly a designated hitter. He was a great hitter last year, but this year he has completely upped his game to a whole other level. How is that even possible? Rooker has greatly improved his contact numbers. His .246 batting average from last year has become .291 this year, a jump of 45 points. The most obvious reason for this big jump in his batting average is simply just where he's placing the ball after making contact with the pitch. He's hitting way more line drives at a rate of 23.3% and has dropped his ground ball rate a ton as well, basically swapping the two year to year. Rooker is also just making more contact this year, bringing his contact rate up from 64.9% last year to 67.6% this year. He's swinging at more pitches and just seeing less strikes as well because of it. That's been the main improvement Rooker has made from last year, and he's a much more complete and better hitter because of it. Even after hitting 30 home runs last year, his power numbers are still up from last year too, as he's on pace for about 35 home runs and in turn more extra base hits. His OPS of 942 is 8th in MLB, and his 3.0 F-WAR is in the top 20. He deserved to be an All-Star. Fans selected Anthony Santander as an outfield reserve and David Fry as a reserve designated hitter. They've been great players this season, don't get me wrong, but the stats don't lie, and Brent Rooker has been considerably better than them this year at hitting. Rooker doesn't play the infield, but he's also a lot better than those reserves as well. Fan voting can be a fun thing sometimes, but when it snubs players of Rooker's caliber from the All-Star roster, it really doesn't look as great. He's tied with Bryce Harper in home runs and has more than known power hitters such as Teoscar Hernandez and Kyle Schwarber this year. They've both had at least 50 more plate appearances than him too. He has a similar OPS to Gunnar Henderson and has a higher OPS than both Yordan Alvarez and Bobby Witt Jr., who are two fantastic hitters. I don't know how to look this up, but there probably haven't been many times in MLB history that a player with 21 home runs, a 942 OPS, and 3 Fangraphs wins above replacement hasn't been invited to the All-Star game. Definitely like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and thanks for watching this video.